Welcome to the Teach Jim Show, the place to teach, to learn, to grow.
Hi, this is Jim. I teach and I learn. And today I'm excited to share with you another round of the simulcast. That's right. Right here we're doing a couple of things for you. Hey, I help people that have been educated in the formal world to move out of that formal world and become part of a new world of information learners and marketers. My primary goal is to help people to grow past the formal education they got and go into the new world of information marketing, of information businesses, and running a business online. And so the way I do that is I help people who were taught to go get a good job, to get a good education, and once they had those two things, they'd be set in life. And many of us have done that. Some of us have multiple degrees, college degrees, high school degrees, two-year college degrees, and each of us are learning and growing in that whole arena. And as we go down that road, we start to understand that we are having some success. Some of us have leveraged that learning into service, and others of us have leveraged our learning and our leadership into service. So we are servant leaders, and we're striving to work and grow in that way. Many of us have found that that's a great way to go in life. We found some passions in life that we can work towards, and it's very, very helpful. Well, that's all good and fine until the world around us changes. And so we're faced with some challenges and problems. First off, I personally faced a layoff. Maybe some of you have. Maybe you've had a downturn in the economy, which has caused your finances to not be quite as rich or as strong as they used to be. All of these things come into play and have an effect on who we are and what we're doing. They change our perspective on what we got in our formal education. And then the Internet's come along with this informal information learning that we can do anytime, any place, and it's so different than the way we were taught. In fact, some of us need to reschool and retool. We come online and we find out that one of the pains we feel is that we don't know what to learn next. In a formal education, the school system directed our learning. It sent us on a path, and we were able to follow that. The teacher said, hey, that's the way to go. Other things happened that we were able to be directed. Now we live in a world where the resources are out there for us to learn from, but we are left on our own to learn from those resources. What's to learn next? Well, we have to decide that. You see, nobody else is doing that for us. And then we try to learn, and we try to go down that learning path. So many times we are left in the same place we were before. We go back and get another degree. I've got 3. Sometimes we go back to learning from a guru. We pick up a class or a course. We think we have to go to a formal education place to get the learning that we need. That's not the case at all. In fact, I propose to you that there's a couple of ways we can work around that. There are some systems in place. There are some instructions and trainings and philosophies that we can pursue to get past the formal education that we were given and taught so firmly and so ingrained in our lives. And so that's what I'd like to take a couple minutes today and do. First off, it's a pleasure to have you here on the show. What I'd like to suggest is that we can become independent of that way of thinking that we grew into, that we were raised with. We can become independent of thinking that we have to go to a guru. We have to go to a class. We have to pick up a course. We can break away from that. And there's some self-directed learning that we can learn and engage in. And when we do, the mileage goes really far for us. And that's what we've got. This independence thing comes from and grows out of if we can learn like a guru. If you notice, the gurus, the leaders, they somehow got there, and they're doing new things. They're learning new technologies. They're leaders in technologies that didn't exist 3 years ago. How do they do that? Well, they're learning their way through the challenges of the coming technologies. If we could learn to learn like a guru, we'd probably be in pretty good shape. In fact, that's what we're putting together, how to learn like a guru so we'll never need one again. You like that idea? Listen, there's a lot of things that gurus say, and there's a lot of things that gurus do. Somewhere between those two is what really happens and what you and I need to do. So let's take a look at the idea that the problem we face when we come online to build a business, the problem we face in today's economy oftentimes has to do with the fact that we don't know where the market is. We aren't aligning ourselves with the right audience. our purpose is disappearing in some way. It's getting muddied with all the techniques and tactics. And so here's what I'm going to suggest to you, that we lay a foundation in the very principles that leaders and gurus and people that are rooted and staying up on these things are rooted in. One of those I propose to you is a personal performance pattern. They're productive in what they do in their lives. They keep on path and they keep moving. Personal performance patterns is what they do every day. Daily method of operation, weekly method of operation, blocks of time, strategies for staying focused, breaking away from the focus, taking a break. All those are strategies. You can learn those and you can master them. That's one of the things that we want to look at. The other thing is optimum project management. You know, anything to get done in today's world becomes a project pretty much. Multiple steps, beginning date, end date, goal you're setting for, budget, kind of work for that. But most of us have our projects slip. We somehow run into barriers and we can't get past those barriers. Many of those barriers are learning barriers. Let's see what happens here. If you're an optimum project manager and you break away from that, you become a self-directed learner. You run into the brick wall, you learn your way either through it, around it, over it, additional resources are brought to it, and you tackle that problem. You're on to the next one. And so you leverage the learning that you learned in high school, that you learned in college. You leverage that learning into the challenges you face, and you take on self-directed learning. Okay, let's look at what we've got right here. There was an experience that we had recently. Brendan Pritchard presented a challenge to have this video together. Well, in the middle of this video that I'm making, and we're on the air with the radio show at the same time, I was perplexed with time. And so to become more productive, I actually took, and I don't know if you can see it, but I've got the microphone from the radio recorder there and the microphone for the phone here for the radio show. So I've got two things going on at the same time, leveraging time and energy, something we've already established how to do. That's one of the things that you can learn. Another thing that you can learn in terms of in terms of self-directed learning is a process I call chunking. Here are the 9 steps that Brendan Pritchard talks about. I've always had 6 steps in my marketing planning. Those 6 steps are very meaningful to me in the way I do my business. To stay true to myself, I had to see a way that I could adjust to the new learning I got when I was presented these 9 steps. Here's how that happened. This center used to be marketing, and purpose was one of the marketing steps. But I understand that you and I have passions. We have things that we want to pursue, things that we can influence the world with. And so we put our purpose in the center. That's the change that I've made in my 6-step marketing plan. Purpose is where it starts, and it all hangs on to that purpose. Now we took the 9 items here, and we chunked them into these 6 things. And each of these cover the items that are here. For example, number 5 here, results. Well, that's what we're talking about now, some of the results that we've gotten. We've grown independent. We actually, when we were laid off, the people around me were the ones having the pain. They were the ones saying, oh, I'm sorry you lost this nice job that you have, government job, and oh, my goodness. And I said, that's okay. I had another set of skills. The set of skills that I had developed by learning on my own that got me into the job were the same skills I could carry out into new technologies out into the world. And I got a commercial job in a commercial place instead of a government job with the skills I learned after college, not the skills I learned in college. You see, that's a pain point that the pain was watching everybody else go, oh, it's not pain. You have a set of skills. You take them, you go to work with them. Because you're self-directed learning, you stay on top of things. So that's the solution. The results was able to keep the job. The myths and strategies, we'll talk about that in a second. So the myths and the solution framework fit over here. Here's the myth down here. And then we took each of these items, the do's and don'ts right here, the do this right here. So you start to see that each of those items matched up, and they fit into my marketing plan. And we're going to leverage that into the products that we produce. Right now, we're working on this how to learn like a guru, so you don't need one again. That audio course, that DVD, is going out in a few weeks. And when it does, it's going to be exciting to see the results of that, because gurus, we can learn from them. First off, we can learn some myths. Gurus don't know everything either. They're learning also. But somehow in marketing, they want us to be dependent so we can buy more products from them. If we go down the education road and we just provide excellent service, which is what we do, then guess what happens? The information becomes self-perpetuating. If I can enable you to produce products on your own so that you can learn to think on your own. Isn't that going to enable you? And you're going to say that's a great thing. And then because you can learn on your own, because you're able to do these things, you're a project manager, you're a problem solver, then we can have you come back and work with us on projects. I want partners that have skills in project management. I want partners who are self-directed learners. They can tackle a problem when it comes up. Those are the kinds of partners that I want to work with, and you do too, don't you? So you start to see if we can put together a package of maybe profitable producers that work together, they can work through the challenges that we face with some of the myths and trends. Trends are changing. The web used to be a publishing place you push out to it. Now it's an interactive place. And soon will be a collaborative place. All the communication technologies, we can collaborate immediately. Who's teaching collaboration? There are few, but they're few and far between if you listen to what they're saying. If you watch what they're doing, their collaborations are getting tighter all the time. Mike Koning was talking about Brandon Burchard in his videos, and they were collaborating together. They've got several things going on in parallel with each other. This idea of collaboration is a trend that's moving forward. Some of the myths are that you can learn step by step, and that's going to give you everything you need. Step-by-step instructions take you down the path of dependence. If I'm given step by step, I learn from somebody the step by step, and all I can do is step by step, I'm stuck. I can't think on my own. I'm left with them guiding me. Well, you don't want to have that kind of a situation set up for yourself. You want to break out of that. So you take step-by-step instructions to break the ice, and then you apply your learning skills that you learned other places to generalize, get several authorities, check several references, pull out the best of each of those, put them together, and then go forward with what you can do yourself. And that's what we've done here. We've taken ideas of gurus, of leaders. We see how they learn. We watch what they do. What they do is what you want to watch. And then you leverage those thinkings and the deeper thoughts of that into the next step of progression for yourself. That's what Profitable Producers is about. We have a solution here in Profitable Producers, which is a group of people working towards perpetual profit as we, one, nail down these foundation skills, build upon them production of products, marketing of products, and collaboration skills, the second layer. And we package those all together so we have a craftsman guild that we go through, and then we work toward becoming master merchants. We work on apprenticeships. We then become master craftsmen. We then have apprentice merchants, and we become master merchants. This whole progression takes us from dependence to independence with a business that we own. Those steps are done in such a way that we leverage our own learning. We leverage the learning of others, and we see how they have learned, and then we package that up. ProfitableProducers.com is the place to go to learn more about this particular program. It's a marriage of the best of everything you know and everything I know and all the courses I have and all the courses you have. You see, if we brought all the learning that we've learned from others and we roll it onto the table, we leverage the learning that we've learned from gurus, from leaders, chances are you and I are going to know as much or more than some of them. And then if we can apply that in learning by doing as opposed to learning by study, learning by following the others only, then we're in a good shape. So go over here to Profitable Producers, pick up the 3-part video series, and then from there get on the notification list. Profitable Producers, the order of Profitable Producers will be only open for a small window around July 1st so that we can take in our next group of, I hate to call them students because I like to think of them as collaborators, people that we're going to work with and learn from together. And we start down this process of going from dependence to independence as we nail down the skills that gurus have taught us so that we can overcome this idea of not knowing what to know next, this idea of having our value being decreased, hanging on to our purpose and taking it forward, overcoming the myths, doing the things that we need to do to get these things done through project management and through other types of experiences. So that's where we are. It's a mix of tactical skills, taking the radio show, putting it on, and one eye,